What's up? Hey, hello everyone. Wow. So today we are going to be talking about something Survivor, sort of semi-adjacent. Today we are going to be talking about Peacock's new TV show, The Traitors, and whether it is worth it for you all to check it out. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and in case you're wondering why we even decided to cover this, there are two Survivor players who are on this season of Traitors. Stephanie LaGrossa and Sari Fields are both on it, and so they're both competing to win the prize money. And that's kind of how, Rachel, you heard about this show, right? It was because Stephanie and Sari were on it?
Yeah, there's also some other like strategy reality television stars on it. So if you've seen like Big Brother, and then there's like other random shows like The Bachelor, Celebrity Big Brother. So there's this cast for the US season, it's split 10 like regular normal people who don't have that TV experience, and then you have 10 strategy reality stars. So like Alyssa said, two are from Survivor, so that is why we're talking about the Traitors here today. And so basically, we say Survivor adjacent because they have the Survivor people on there, but also the TV show, it is a strategy reality TV show. So, sort of like if you've seen TV shows like The Mole, or if you play games like Mafia or Werewolf, it's sort of like that where three people, could be more, but in the US version, it is three people. They are the traitors, and then the rest of the people on the show are the faithful. And basically, the premise of the show is that the faithful, the regular other people, they have to figure out who the traitors are. And each night, the traitors get to banish someone, but at the end of the day, everyone gets to vote, and they're trying to vote out, I guess, murder someone at night, but they vote out, they banish someone when everyone votes.
If you've played the game Mafia, it's literally just Mafia, but the winners get $250,000. And there's other stuff that goes on, like every day they play a challenge together, and the challenge adds money to their prize pool at the end. And so it seems like they wanted to make it a little bit more than just the game Mafia, so they added these challenges. And so, yeah.
Yeah, see, Alyssa and I were trying to plan a game night to play Mafia or Werewolf, but we don't have enough friends.
Well, I feel like we have enough friends. It's just that getting people to like
Yes.
commit to something on Friday night, not happening.
Yes,
So
everyone is busy adulting, doing their thing. But for this season of The Traitors, Alyssa watched episode 1. We are going to talk a little bit about episode 1 this podcast. I watched episode 1 when I wrote my notes to talk about this show. And then since then, I have watched the entire season of The Traitors US. I've also watched the entire Traitors UK season. So, no spoilers for that season as well, but that one you can watch free online. And it's the same castle, same premise. It's also some of the same repeat challenges that we see in the US season, except for Traitors UK, they start with all regular people. So, it's not split, okay, 10 reality stars, 10 regular people, but the UK season has just all normal people. And I thought that was interesting because they have like jobs or skills that would be good for the show. So they have like actors, magicians, comedians, police detectives, things like that, where, okay, you would think someone who's a detective in their real life is good at sleuthing out, seeing clues, and then you see that come into play in the game.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because a lot of the people who were the reality stars were kind of talking about how they have targets on their back as a result of being the reality stars. So one of the players in this competition was a winner of Big Brother, and he was like, people are already going to suspect me because I won Big Brother. And so in the episode I watched, no one mentioned either Sari or Stephanie having like any sort of strategic stuff going on with them. But I would also kind of be suspicious of the people who played Survivor, because this is kind of like Survivor, but you actually get to eat food. So
Yeah, literally. If Like, it would be so cool to be on there. We saw in episode one of the players is saying, yeah, he was such a big fan of these strategy reality stars like Sari, like Stephanie. So it's awesome to be there with them. So it must be so cool to be a regular person. And then now, 10 years after Sari played Survivor, to be on the same show as her and to be able to meet with her and potentially work with her, it's got to be such a really cool experience. But you'd think, if you were a big fan of Survivor, of Big Brother, the other super strategic shows that are most similar to the Traitors, like, okay, The Bachelor, that's not really going to help you on Traitors. Being on like Housewives, not really going to help you. So it's like, you'd think they would get targeted early because they come from other strategic shows.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but I don't know, maybe depending on when you watch different shows, like I feel like Big Brother is more mainstream appeal now. Survivor used to be a lot more popular and now kind of I feel like fewer people watch it compared to Big Brother. Like I know people when I say that I watch Survivor, they'll be like, "Oh, do you watch Big Brother too?" I watch Big Brother, but not Survivor. So, maybe that's it. I feel like a ton of people watch The Bachelor, so
Yeah, I guess you don't really need too much strategy to eliminate men or women on The Bachelor
I mean,
or
it was funny.
Bachelorette.
Yeah, someone made a comment to one of the bachelors and it's like, "Oh yeah, you need to be really sneaky to date 20 women at once." And it's like that's literally the premise of the show. You don't need to do any sneaking in The Bachelor, but
Yes. I guess. I think I'm pretty sure I watched that season of or Ari's season of The Bachelor, so definitely some drama with his season,
oh
which I
yeah.
wonder if people knew about.
Oh yeah, they probably did. I guess for people who aren't up to date on The Bachelor, if you really need to know this drama, Ari picked his person who he proposed to, and then later on he was like, "Wait, actually, the girl that I sent home, I want her instead." And so basically, he um, went with his runner-up instead of his winner, and he and his runner-up are still married, and they have 3 kids together now, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Alyssa, I think for if you were casted on the show, would you want to be a traitor or a faithful?
I feel like being a faithful is much easier than being a traitor, but I don't know. Cause like I used to play a lot of like social strategy games like this, and part of it really depends on who the other traitors are.
Mhm.
Cause like if the other traitors are really bad liars, or if the other traitors like aren't good at working with as a team, then it's basically like you're playing you against everybody else, which is a lot harder. And if you have a good team of other traitors, I feel like then I would want to be a traitor, but I feel like getting a good team is so difficult. So, yeah.
Okay, I feel like I would want to be a traitor just because it seems like more fun. Like you would get to see all of the different parts of the show. You would get to participate in the murders, even though it's probably way, way like more stressful than being a faithful. Okay, sure, you go into breakfast the next day after the murder and you know who's going home, so you have to act surprised. You can sleep sort of at night because you aren't worried about being murdered. But I feel like being a traitor would be way more stressful, but it would be more fun because you get to see every part of the show while you're on it rather than figuring out, oh, who was good, who was bad after you're already eliminated from the show. And to be a traitor, that means, you can't randomly get killed off in the middle of the night or just randomly in the show by being murdered by the traitors. You have to get banished at the table, you have to get voted out. So it's just one less elimination that you could potentially leave the show. So you get to potentially experience more of the show if you last longer.
Yeah, the one thing that I think is interesting is as the viewers, we know who the traitors are, and I wonder if it would be more interesting as a viewer if you didn't know who the traitors were also, because then you kind of get the puzzle of beginning to figure out who's the traitor. But yeah, I do think it would be less fun if you only got to see like half of the game, because yeah.
Yeah, I feel like The Mole on Netflix, it is opposite where they don't tell you who the mole is until the finale. And so I liked here in the Traitors shows, they tell you who the traitors are. So you can see, okay, the strategy behind the traitors, what are they doing? How are they eliminating people? How are they forming alliances and things like that. Compared to the mole, you have one person that is working against the rest of the group. Sort of similar concept to the Traitors, but as a viewer watching, you don't know who the mole is until the very end. So, okay, sure, it's fun to speculate. Oh, I think A, B, C, they're one of them is the mole. But I don't know. I don't think that TV show does a good job of revealing at the end of the season, okay, here are the things the mole did to try to sabotage the group, to try to strategize around things. Compared to here in the Traitors, you actually get to see strategy like from the faithfuls and from the Traitors, which makes it really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I do like the Traitors get to go to a place called Traitors Turret to commit their murder. And I wonder, you know, what did they tell the rest of the cast? Are they just like, you're not allowed to go there? I have so many questions about the logistics of this. So, mm.
So for the US season here, the Traitors, we get revealed episode 1. They are Cirie, Christian, and Cody, where Cirie is from Survivor, Cody is a Big Brother winner, and Christian is a regular person not from the reality TV shows. And so seems like at the start of the season, Cody doesn't really like Christian, which I thought, okay, it would be funny, see the Traitors turn on each other if Cody turns on Christian. Say, like Alyssa, you just mentioned, you get the 3 people that you're working with as Traitors and you hate one of them, then you're like, oh, let me try to get you voted out because we don't like you, you're bringing down the team.
Yeah, but before they are allowed to be Traitors, they have to like give that oath, right? And they give an oath that's basically like, I will do my best to like murder other people to protect the identity of the other Traitors, blah 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 blah. So I wonder, how would that work? Like, would that be going against your oath if you vote out another traitor? I have questions.
I would think no. I think the oath would just mean you're not allowed to say, I know Christian's a traitor because I'm also a traitor, kind of thing. Like, oh, if you're about to get voted out, you can't say, yeah, I 100% know you all should vote Cody out, while me, I'm Christian, I'm on the chopping block because I know he's a traitor. But you can basically, I guess, you can throw your other traitors under the bus based off of the entire season, which for me going into the show, I thought that was interesting because I also went in thinking, oh, the 3 traitors, they're going to work together until the end. You're going to see, 3 people in the finale and they're all going to be traitors, but that isn't the case, which adds another like dynamic to the show, which is very interesting in that the traitors can turn on one another and try to force one of them out.
But yeah, I have a lot of questions about the logistics of this show because I guess one of the things that we saw in the first episode was the way the traitors were chosen was they were all sitting around this huge table and the host walks around and taps people on the shoulder to make them the traitors. And I just want to know, when did they decide who was going to be a traitor? How did they decide who was going to be a traitor? Like, it seems kind of interesting that all 3 of the traitors are from the reality TV side, correct?
No, Christian's not.
Oh, Christian's not. Okay. Because I was like, it's kind of weird to me because I thought Christian was from the reality TV side, but I thought it was kind of weird. Like, I want to know like what happened behind the scenes for how they picked the traitors because it seems a little bit too intentional.
I feel like yes, in order to have a good show, you would have to pick good traitors, so you'd have to pick people well. So I would assume to become a traitor, like they would interview everyone and they're like, okay, no, this person wouldn't be a good traitor, XYZ, and sort of ask people questions. And so if someone would be a good traitor, they're more likely to, squeeze their shoulder.
I do wonder though, because then you could like kind of metagame it where you're like, oh, I bet so and so would be a really good traitor, so they're more likely to be the traitor because production would have picked them. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking too, like metagaming who the traitors are, especially in a reality versus regular people season, you're not going to have 3 reality stars as the traitors. Similarly, you're not going to have 3 regular people as the traitors, as well as like gender. You're probably not going to have 3 men as the traitors. You're not going to have 3 women as the traitors. So it's interesting to see, okay, can you sort of think, if I were production, who would I pick? So it's sort of like, okay, for us, since we're big fans of these strategy reality TV shows, for me going into this show, I would think, okay, one of Stephanie and Suri are probably traitors, and one of Cody and Rachel are probably traitors, because Big Brother and Survivor are the 2 shows coming into this show that are most similar. You would pick those people because they're going to be the best traitors, and you want them on your TV screen longer because they're also bringing in their Survivor and Big Brother audiences. So it would make sense. Okay, either vote out Sari or Stephanie. One of them is probably a traitor. Either vote out Cody or Rachel. One of them is probably a traitor just from their reality background.
You see, I would put all 4 of them in the same pot. Like, if you vote out Stephanie and you find out that she is a faithful, I wouldn't automatically assume that Suri was a traitor. But if I voted out Stephanie, Suri, and Rachel, I would maybe be suspicious, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
It's
just
like,
my thought.
it's interesting that you could potentially metagame it if you are like familiar with who the reality stars are, or you might be like, oh, reverse psychology, they don't pick any of the Survivor Big Brother people and they pick like the more random niche reality stars that don't have strategizing from their first show to try to trick us up. But it does
Yeah.
seem like, okay, if you're coming into this show and maybe they did the 10 reality stars to try to get a bigger audience for this first season, compared to like the UK version, all regular people, the Australian version, all regular people. You would want to give the reality stars airtime so that people would come pay to watch your show.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I just, maybe they tell people not to metagame. I don't know.
That's why it's also interesting. Okay, if you're, friends, we hear people, they've known each other for a while from the Big Brother Survivor communities. If they had any suspicion, okay, Sari is a traitor, Cody's a traitor, if they're not targeting Rachel and Stephanie because they know each other from real life, if they had some kind of like, rub my back, I'll rub yours, we can go far in the game. We can both get a lot of screen time if we don't come for each other until more of the end game.
Yeah. You do have to wonder, like, I thought it was interesting that we didn't see anyone, like, I would have loved to see Stephanie and Sari, like, talk to each other, because they played together, right? They played together on Heroes versus Villains,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, why are people not even recognizing this? Because someone, who was it that said, like, oh, I know Cody's a traitor because I can read him or whatever.
Yeah, Rachel said that.
Yeah, Rachel said that. So it's kind of like, where is my Stephanie and Sari content? That would have kept me watching more. So
It is interesting. I feel like they didn't really give any back. They gave some background for some of the people like Suri and Cody, but all the other reality stars, I'm like, okay, where are you from besides just the little name at the bottom? Like, what is Below Deck? What TV show is this? We need some
yeah.
flashbacks.
Yeah, like Reza said in his, like, it had his like Shaws of Sunset something. I thought it was what's it called? Like a house hunting show. But it apparently wasn't, so yeah, I was confused. I think it was Shaws of Sunset Boulevard. That sounds right. But in any case, it's kind of like, who are these people? Like, I don't like if you're expected to come in knowing everyone. So
Yeah, it's like a little, maybe they couldn't get the rights to do flashbacks of like, okay, this is blah 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 person on their show. Oh, this is what they're famous or most known for from their original TV show. We got some flashbacks for some of the more, I guess, relevant people that we needed for episode 1, but even later on in the season, you just never get really introduced to the supposed reality stars that you're supposed to know. So I guess it would have been interesting to see some flashbacks of like, okay, what is this person famous for, kind of thing. What did they do on their OG show?
Or even like if you can't get the licensing for flashbacks, have something. Like Sari alluded to like, oh, I've gotten so far on Survivor, so like tell me how far she got, because you know different people have different ideas of like what constitutes good placement in a game. I just feel like there could have been more like background building, because if I'm supposed to be rooting for them because they're reality TV stars, like, yeah, I need to know more.
Yeah. So what did you think of the challenges? I guess we saw the first one this episode.
Yeah, the challenge was kind of weird because like they were competing against each other, but they weren't. Like I didn't really get that. Basically, it was like they were two teams both doing the same task, and the first team that finished the task would add $20,000 to the prize pool, and the second team would add $10,000 to the prize pool. And it's kind of like, are you just splitting this up so that if half of them fail, you can still add some money to the prize pool? Like, I didn't understand why they were being split up. I didn't understand the whole prize pool thing. It seemed kind of unnecessary because it also didn't seem like you got any benefit from winning. Like, you didn't get any benefit from your team being the first place team. Like, I would have thought it would be interesting if like one person from the first place team was randomly immune from being murdered or something like that. Though that might also just be like my survivor brain kicking in, where it's like, why is no one allowed to have immunity? So
See, look, you're so smart. So that kind of thing does happen later in the season where when they are split into teams, one person does have the opportunity to win an immunity from being murdered in the night. So it does come into play later, but I agree with the challenges. It's sort of because okay, you can win money, but if you're voted out or if you're murdered, you don't even get any money. So you're really only helping the people that make it to the end get money. So it sort of seems a little bit odd that, like, okay, everyone's trying in the challenges, yes, but basically you just want to get as far as you can to try to win the money if you're in the final five to try to win. Otherwise, if you're eliminated in any episode before the end, you're not going to win any of it. So you're doing the challenges for nothing.
yeah, I don't know. The game kind of seems skewed towards the Traitors, but
Yeah. So overall thoughts. I think the show's worth watching. I really liked watching the season 1 of the US season and the UK season. Now it's time to go and watch the Australian season of the Traitors and just do a whole Traitors binge. I would say with the US season, it is on Peacock, so you do need to pay for the at least the 1 month subscription for Peacock to watch.
yeah, I feel like for me, if I already had Peacock, I would gladly watch this, but like I don't really want to see anything else on Peacock, and to me it kind of seems silly to buy Peacock just for this show. And so if it were free, I would watch it. If there was something else on Peacock or I already had a Peacock subscription, I would watch it. But because I'm not particularly interested in Peacock or anything, I probably will just not watch the rest of it. I told Rachel that I read the Wikipedia page because I was trying to remember the host's name because I thought it was Stanley Tucci, and I was like, Stanley Tucci isn't Scottish, but no, it's not Stanley Tucci. So I was trying to remember the host's name, and then when I got to the Wikipedia page, I saw they had everyone's placement, and so I looked. And so, having accidentally read the entire Wikipedia page, I feel like my curiosity is satisfied enough also. So,
Okay, I'll send you the links for the UK season. It's really, really good. And so since you're not spoiled on that, I would definitely recommend. I would also think for the US season, if they're doing more seasons for US, It seems like the episodes were shorter for the US season. They were like 40 minutes to an hour, and there's only 10 episodes. The UK season, they had 12 episodes, and they were all like an hour long. So you got more of that strategy talk versus I feel like for this first episode of the US season, it was like half challenge, and then you barely got any of the strategy talk. So there, I did like the UK season because you get more of that. Okay, why are we thinking it's X person? Why do we think it's this person? Why do we think it's person A, B, C? And why are we going to vote people out? So you hear more of that, okay, conversations between contestants. And especially for this first episode of the US season, I'm like, we don't really know any of these people. We saw like 2 of the regular people and like 5 of the famous people. And you just didn't see half of the other regular people. Like, they don't even get to talk.
Yeah, I also felt like a lot of the strategy that they did show in this episode was so like basic. Like, oh, this person took a drink right after the traitors were selected, so she must be a traitor. Like, I want to see deeper strategy, though I guess that probably means I would have to watch more than one episode. So
And I feel like with longer episodes, you could have more time to explain things. For the US season, it looks like everyone just slept upstairs in the castle at night, which doesn't make sense because you could be like, yo, if everyone's in the same hotel castle upstairs, you would totally hear if people are leaving their rooms. How would they not see the traitors? But actually, people like in the UK season, they get sequestered separately and they leave the castle at night. So it is completely like, okay, you can't see the traitors by snooping around at nighttime. Everyone's not
that was
sleeping
one of my
together.
other like logistical questions, because it's like, duh, you would notice if someone was sneaking around in the castle.
Yeah, like, oh, they left their bunk bed. Like, oh, they're the traitor, obviously. Is
Yeah.
so more time would be good. And I feel like maybe they should release the episodes in batches because it's sort of hard to avoid spoilers. The whole season dropped last Thursday, and then people were already posting the winner, the day of, because people watched all 10 episodes in one day. But they had good cliffhangers at the end of each episode. So I feel like they could have released it weekly or did groups of, 4 episodes or something.
Another thing production wise that I think could have been fun is if they leaned more into like the whole castle thing and had like spooky stuff happening. Ryan Lochte was looking for a fake door for the entire first episode, and it was like, give the man his mystery door. So yeah.
Which is actually funny because the way that people win immunity is through a mystery door.
You see, I feel like they could have leaned in so much to like the spooky creepiness of being like isolated in the castle. Like, give it some horror vibes, give it some mystery vibes. So
Yeah. I also think they do need a reunion show after the UK season, after the US season. You get to the finale and they crown the winner or winners at the end, and you're just like, okay, great. Now I want to hear the drama and the tea of people finding out who the traitors were, if people are butthurt because of how they went out, if people were shocked about who the traitors were. And I want to see when people get murdered, when they're eliminated, have the camera on them and ask them who they think the traitors are at that point in time in the show. Because sure, everyone on the internet after the show could always say, yeah, I totally pegged it from day one. I knew person ABC, they were traitors, but it was never on the show. So it would be interesting to hear, okay, real time, person A just got eliminated or murdered. Who did they think the traitors were? And then we can see, okay, are they completely right or completely wrong? And then film their reaction when they production says, oh no, the traitors are, Suri and Cody and Christian. And they're like, oh my gosh.
yeah, I feel like there's definitely the formula is good, probably because they stole it from a very popular party game. But the formula is good, and I feel like production wise, they could make some tweaks to make it even more entertaining.
Yeah. So I'd say overall, it's worth the watch. The UK season and I think Australian season are free online. So if you didn't pay for Peacock, then you could watch the others online for free.
Yeah, it's worth the watch if it's free to me. So yeah. So I thought you were gonna say something, so I stopped saying something. So go for it.
Oh, I was just breathing. A deep breath.
No breathing allowed. Anyways, let us know in the comments down below whether or not you've watched The Traitors. Have you watched the US version? Have you watched the Australian version? Have you watched the UK version? Please try to keep the comments spoiler free so that if people are watching this video who aren't spoiled, they won't become spoiled by reading comments. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below, what is one change you would have made to The Traitors to make it more watchable? And we will see you guys soon with another video. Bye.